Hey, what up guys? It's Jack and welcome back to another video, and it's been a while, but as I've stated before in other commentaries before this one, no matter how much I do or don't post, I always manage to kind of watch what's going on, what other content creators have to say about the game and all that kind of stuff, you name it, right? And we're talking about Modern Warfare 2 at this point. My goodness, I'm surprised that Blame Truth hasn't lost his voice by now. He's screaming at the top of his lungs, 3,000 devs, 3,000 devs, and it's something that multiple content creators have mentioned as well. And I'm going to say right off the bat that I actually do legitimately believe that 3,000 developers actually developed Modern Warfare 2. And there was probably a reason behind it, obviously. And as you guys can see by the product, and I will say this right off the bat, I did not purchase Modern Warfare 2. I do not regret not purchasing it. I did not even play the beta. I just kind of kept watching, and the more I watched, the more I decided that the game was not for me. And even going further back, when I looked at what they did with Vanguard, which was the Call of Duty that I played the least over the years, that game, Vanguard, is more rusher friendly than what Modern Warfare 2 is, but yet it still wasn't enough to keep me around, which is going to bring me to my point in this commentary. So, but first, I want to say that yes, 3,000 developers very well might have possibly developed this game, Modern Warfare 2. And also, there is the fact that you can have 200 master chefs or even 200 experienced chefs, right, that know what they're doing in a kitchen that will put out more food in a shorter amount of time and better quality food than 3,000 people that have little to no experience being in that kitchen in the first place, or not enough experience, or that don't qualify to be in that kitchen for that specific task. Pretty much newbies in the kitchen, right? The guys that are still going through their culinary skills and stuff like that, right? Guys that haven't learned everything that they're supposed to yet. Those chefs who actually have the experience and that know what they're doing are, even though there's only 200 of them compared to the 3,000 of the other guys, are going to make better quality food and more food than in a shorter amount of time than those 3,000 people. And when you look back in the days of Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, COD 4, the original Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, which I've been missing a lot of lately. I've been watching old gameplays from some of my favorite content creators or gameplay channels. This is where I wish the Market J still had his channel up, man. I'd be watching his stuff again. He'd be one of those people that I'm watching, but thankfully there are others. But man, Market J, man, I miss him. But anyway, going back to the commentary here. When you look back at those games, you had roughly around 200 or so people, give or take, that were creating those games. And they had one less year to create those games. And those games released complete. And they were quite well done. Now, I know a lot of people have basically said, and Blame Truth is not the only one to say this, that the gunplay in terms of how it feels and how it feels to like shoot people and to take somebody out in Modern Warfare 2 feels good. Like you said, it feels good, which is great. That's what we want. We want it to feel good. It's supposed to feel good. It's one of the things that makes Call of Duty Call of Duty. And yes, that's great. But it's pretty rare when a Call of Duty just doesn't feel good to get a kill. Some are more satisfying than others, but for the most part in a Call of Duty, it usually feels good to get a kill. It's actually one of the things that I just didn't really find too satisfying about Vanguard, you know, and I don't mean to trash Vanguard, especially for those of you guys that enjoyed Vanguard or anything like that. I mean, no, I'm not trying to like step on your preferred tastes or anything like that. But I'm just talking about from my perspective. And this is another reason why I made this video, is because I want to hear from your perspective as well. And here is the main question of the day, ladies and gentlemen. And this, it's legit. This is not a troll question. If our prayers were answered and skill-based matchmaking and engagement optimization matchmaking were completely removed from Modern Warfare 2, and the matchmaking, you know, you would have the lobbies would not disband. You can keep the lobbies. You didn't have to reverse boost in order to get into, you know, a decently balanced lobby or whatever it was. You know, you would have a balanced situation, stuff like that. Do you think that Modern Warfare 2 would still be a fun game? Now, granted, would it be a fun game? Would it be a game that you would come back and play often? Would it measure up to the standard of what you expect in a Call of Duty game? Because you still have to have the gunplay that needs to be satisfying. You still need to have a progression system that needs to be satisfying. The maps need to be fun to move around in. The game has to be balanced in terms of what style of play you prefer. The attachments on the weapons are supposed to work properly and make your weapons better and not have too many pros or too many cons and be reasonably balanced or whatnot. You know, you like to where you actually want to put stuff on your gun. The connection is supposed to be smooth, you know, the maps and all that kind of stuff. Like, the streaks are supposed to be good or at least decent, or right? It's supposed to be satisfying to play all these different games and game modes on all the maps for all the game modes. Hardcore, you name it, all that kind of stuff, right? In terms of what we got with Modern Warfare 2 and what we're supposed to get in Season 1, or what what's supposed to be arriving in Season 1, and I'm not going to say were because I don't own the game and I don't plan on getting it either. Do you think that the game would be a game that you would enjoy? Like, would it measure up to the standard for you? Obviously, you'd enjoy it more if there was no engagement optimization and skill-based management. There's no doubt about that. The game would be more fun. But the question is, would it keep you around? Because there are some games that are fun, they keep you around temporarily because they just don't have enough meat on the bone. You've eaten all the meat. You know, what do you need to keep munching on this chicken wing for, unless you're going to eat the bone itself, right? Which we do not as humans. There are games like that, and then there are other games that have plenty of meat on the bone, or when you're out of one, you can just reach over and grab another, which is content. When you translate that, it means content. So, in your opinion, is there enough meat on the bone in Modern Warfare 2, including what's coming, to keep you coming back to play? And I'm not talking about Warzone. I'm talking about the traditional multiplayer. And it's not even, I don't even know why I call it traditional multiplayer, because it's not really traditional, really. Call of Duty multiplayer really hasn't been traditional in a while. As a matter of fact, I would argue that Black Ops Cold War is, out of the CODs that we've gotten over the last, 3 or 4 years, Cold War is probably the most traditional out of those 4. Because it still retained its arcadiness, so to speak, out of all the Call of Duties. It eased up on the pros and cons and stuff like that. Did it succeed in a way that we expected Treyarch to succeed? No, but at the same time, I'm not going to blame Treyarch for that, because they basically had to take over after Sledgehammer and basically clean up the mess or inject as much of their DNA into that game as possible, which I'm glad they did, because it would have been like having Vanguard 2 years in a row if they kept too much of what those guys had put in the first place. You know, and that's just by going by speculation, of course, because we obviously got what we got with Cold War. So, but that's just my opinion. You know, you guys may have differing opinions. Some of you guys like Modern Warfare 2019 the best. Some people like Black Ops Cold War. Some people like Vanguard. And a lot of people may also like Modern Warfare 2. So, and it really is a matter of perspective, guys. And I need to also state the fact that for all of us that are in the YouTube's comment section, and for the content, and for all of us that are content creators that stream and stuff like that, streamers, we are still in the minority. You know, those casuals are where it's at. That's where the majority of the money comes from, and the playtime, and the people that are likely to buy more transactions or to put maybe some time into Warzone and stuff like that. That is where the majority of the focus is at. We're always going to be outnumbered by the casuals. I personally know one, and they're enjoying the game. Sent me a text message not too long ago saying, I know this goes up against everything you feel, but I like Modern Warfare 2. I'm like, hey, more power to you, my friend. If you're enjoying it, then enjoy it. I'm certainly not going to judge him for liking a video game that I do not, whatever, for any reason that he likes it. But I understand his point of view. He's not, he's more of he's a lot more casual than myself. He plays a lot more different games and stuff like that. So a different kind of player than myself. We both have a passion and a love for video games, but in terms of the kind of player that he is when it comes to games like Call of Duty, for instance, which to my knowledge, I don't think he plays many of, compared to myself, who before not too long ago spent a lot of time dedicating myself to Call of Duty, and as well as this YouTube channel, it's like, yeah, it's a completely different thing. So my point of view is going to be a little bit different than his. Just like a pro's point of view of the game that only, a pro that only plays, in the settings that professional players play in competitive, compared to what pub players play. I mean, it's, again, two different points of view, and they're almost like two different games in terms of the game itself. So, and it did not surprise me at all, and I'm actually happy for him because it wasn't money wasted. So with that being said, I have a multitude of different kind of people that comment on my channel. Where do you guys stand? Does the game have enough meat for you? Is it keeping you satisfied? Or do you think if our prayers were answered, that it would just not be enough? And it's not like Call of Duty to you, and you're just kind of accepting of it, of what it is, and you're just kind of going with the flow. Let me know down in the comment section, and that's all I got for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys later.